You don't like my strap on?
Damn Wagoneer and his double barrel strap on.
Grabbing a ding dong.
I mean, it was just kind of sitting out there. I felt like somebody had to grab it.
It's perfectly normal.
That sort of thing changes day to day.
I'm starting to feel really uncomfortable.
Who's he? What's now?
Nothing?
There's a lot of ways that this could go.
Okay.
Well, we went there. I guess that's how tonight's going to go.
Right to it. Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us under the library. This is an actual play Call of Cthulhu podcast, and we do it live with no editing or script. We build this narrative together in the moment. And if you would like to make better stories in your tabletop role-playing game, check out our other show. It's called Up Your RPG. It's all about how players and GMs can foster a more supportive, collaborative, creative, and ultimately more rewarding RPG experience. Again, that's Up Your RPG, and you can find it wherever you get your podcasts. With that, let's get to a show. My name's Arthur. I am playing Buddy. For the second show in a row, we've got a full house. So, I am here with Rick as Sam, Emily as Colette, Wayne playing Sister B, and Scott as Johnny Dante. As always, our keeper is Michael. Michael, show's all yours.
Thanks, Art. Under the Library is a horror tabletop role-playing game set in the Call of Cthulhu universe with horror and other unsettling imagery, featuring mature themes played by immature people. If you've ever wanted to squish a pixie to see if it makes your thumb glow, you're definitely in the right spot. Not safe for Scott is your signal. The following information will be graphic. If you're concerned, skip ahead, but stick with us. And now to Emily with last episode's recap.
Thanks, Michael. So Sam, still between the two train cars, saw men pass carrying a wrapped body. He enters the prep car to find Johnny securing the body and giving orders to carefully clean the blood. Sister B, still clinging to the top of a different train, was able to open the hatch of another car and peer inside. She saw a veritable army of strange humanoid figures, not statues, but instead jiggling with the movement of the train. Colette continued her conversation with Amanda, but became suspicious and started to question her. Amanda admitted that her official research area is beauty pageants, but her true obsession is investigating strange events. They hear a knock on the door, and Johnny Dante enters the compartment. Back in the rear compartment, Buddy hears the book speak to him, imploring him to read it. He eventually responded when the book claimed knowledge of his father and also said something else killed Eddy and then escaped the train. Finally, we ended the session with Sam in the supply car, grabbing a couple handles of whiskey and heading for the dining car.
All right. Who's going to get us rolling? Sorry, no pun intended.
Wah, wah,
Fun, maybe.
wah.
Yeah, bad one.
Sister B was on the cusp of a vibrating sister hole.
Jesus.
No.
Well, we went there. I guess that's how tonight's going to go.
Right to it. Well, with
So
that,
let's
we're
start
going to
with Sister
Sister B.
Okay, why not? There's a whole bunch of people in there already.
Jesus.
No!
And they're jiggling.
Not okay. Not safe for anyone.
So, Sister B make sure she had some tie downs before she goes into a
No.
vibrating sister hole. You can't not be too careful in these things. They're very dark and strange inside. Could be deep.
Jesus Christ. What is happening?
We're not going to get anywhere if you break the keeper.
All right. So you lower yourself. I'm not even going to make you roll, but you lower yourself among all these jiggling bodies, and you can now see that they're attached to the ceiling by these thin
Oh.
cables.
Oh, and then she looks up. If we can retcon it, because I was going to say this at the beginning, she would have gone back to
No,
suitcase.
we're not going back and doing that scene at all.
She would have grabbed a flashlight from her suitcase, which was on the other train when she was over there. So, if she could flick on small flashlight, and she has flashlight, so that she would shine up and see what these cords are attached into.
Yeah, so they just go down and they hook in. You can now see they hook into the back of these bodies, and you can clearly see that it doesn't connect for Sister B. In fact, I think Sister B, of all things, Sister B would have to make a sand roll for entering this space.
Absolutely. So these bodies, are they how real or lifelike?
Well, let's see how this.
Because Sister B,
Let's see how the sand roll goes. Yeah,
it could be a train full of nuns. Here we go. 26. She does okay. So her adrenaline's going. She's able to stay focused. It flicks for a little bit. She senses train full of nuns, but no, these are dolls. These are statues, and she looks at them. These are not human, and she's talking out loud because she does that to her. So these are not human, and she. I just need are they jam packed, or there's space in between them? I need a little reference.
Think of it like hanging meat in a meat locker, right? So there's one every 2 to 3 feet.
Oh, so their feet aren't on the floor.
Correct. Yeah, that's why they're jiggling.
Oh,
in fact, some of them don't have feet. Some of them are just bodies. As you lower in, right? Some are just torsos. Some are missing arms.
So this would be a big question. Where things are not connected, are there wires or human veins? What would be it? This makes sense. She hasn't seen anything like this. This is strange. We know robots now, but
right, and that's why I wanted the sand roll. So the faces are incredibly lifelike.
Mm-hmm.
And but as she moves the flashlight down, the bodies appear to be series of interconnected gears. There's wires running through them, but none of them are on, so to speak.
Oh, big question. She has suspicion from some of the things that have happened, and she knew from the wake. Perhaps some fluid. She looks on floor to see if any fluid is dripping from these machines.
And on that, we'll cut to... what are we cutting to? We'll cut to Colette and Johnny Dante with Amanda.
Okay.
So Amanda just invited you in. Colette has not said anything.
Sure. So I'll introduce myself. Johnny Dante. I'm with the FBI.
Oh yeah, you said
your names are.
You're a police officer.
Yeah, I guess so. So your name is?
I'm Amanda.
Amanda.
I will quickly make eye contact with Amanda and say, my name's Lulu.
Okay. And I'm gonna sort of look at you both, and so first I'm gonna say, all right, Amanda, and what's your last name, Amanda? And I've got my notebook.
Amanda LaFleur, but what's your name?
Amanda LaFleur. Okay, Johnny Dante. Johnny Dante.
Oh, that's such a masculine last name.
Yeah, thank you. And Lulu, what's your last name? And I'm looking at you, and I'm sort of turning my head a little bit. I mean, I feel like maybe I recognize you, but I'm like, Lulu. Lulu, what's your last name?
It's
Dante.
Minkton.
Wasn't Dante an author?
I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second, ma'am. Lulu, what's your last name?
It's Minkton.
Lulu.
Now, why are you collecting names?
Oh, just getting some information. And Lulu. And I'm gonna look at Lulu, and I see the brown hair. I see sort of features, and I'm gonna look at her hands and see if I see any kind of distinct markings on her hands.
Sure, and I don't think you'd really have to roll on.
Yeah, I'm looking.
I mean, I gave him a distinguishing characteristic. I'm fine with it being distinguishing.
Yeah, I'm looking for sort of any staining or anything.
So you'd see the charcoal staining on her fingertips,
Okay.
but not on the palms of her hands, like very much on the fingertips. So it resonate with an artist.
Okay. So I'm gonna look at Lulu. I'm gonna say, so Lulu, and you can hear a bit of emphasis on the name. Say, Johnny Dante, maybe you heard my name. I think we might have a friend in common. Eddy, 10 Fingers Dildingendorf. I had a long conversation with him, and he told me about some friends of his, some people that he's come to trust a lot. And he asked me to help him out. I'm actually here talking about this because I know something maybe happened. I see you're taking notes too. We're in the same line of business, taking notes with this stuff.
Yeah, so Amanda's writing as you talk.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm just gonna say, so would you maybe say, Lulu, that I'm somewhere in the right ballpark with this?
Did Eddy say anything about a
He-
Lulu?
He did. It's something that maybe if you're comfortable, you and I could have a conversation in private. So we can certainly finish this conversation. It doesn't even have to be private in a car or something, but I just there's some information that Eddy shared with me, and if you're the person I think you might be, I'll check it. Then it's not information that I necessarily want to share, even though your friend here seems like a lovely human being.
I don't think I'm ready to leave quite yet. Did Eddy tell you about anyone else?
He did. He told me about a couple of his friends. I just met one of them, guy named Sam. He's living up to every expectation that Eddy set for him. And he told me,
is your friend Eddy as strong as you are?
well, Eddy is dead.
Ooh, what happened to Eddy? I mean, I'm so sorry to hear. Is he?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
No, I appreciate it, man. So, and I'm going to turn back and see. Yeah, and there was another one. He was a good buddy of his. And I'm looking to maybe connect with everyone because I feel like there's some things I can help his friends with. I got some additional information from the bureau, and I definitely don't want to impose. But when you're ready to talk, I'd love to talk to you.
What did he tell you about me?
So I got to ask, are you comfortable with me sharing this information in front of, is this a good friend of yours? She's taking notes, and your story is your story. I don't want to share your story.
Well, you asked me my name and then delivered it back to me, and I don't know you, and you want me to go somewhere with you. I would
Sure.
prefer to stay here with Amanda.
I totally get it. Totally get it. What I'll say is that the name that you gave me, it's one of the names of yours that he gave me, and there was maybe another name, and he said that I might hear both names.
Maybe you should tell me that other name.
Okay, Colette, I will definitely do that if you'd like me to.
Okay. So you knew Eddy.
Eddy was a good friend of mine. Yeah, and I'm just I'm trying to find out what happened to him and how he gets a big hole in the middle of his stomach. And I didn't find any residue, and I'm just doing some digging on this, and I'm wondering, he told me that there was some stuff that he didn't understand that you guys were working on together, and I'm hoping that you can maybe get me some information about it.
Yeah, maybe we can talk. Right now, though, I was just wrapping up here with Amanda, and I need to go check. Well, I need to go check on Buddy. I'm a little worried about him.
That's actually
You
the
can
next
come
thing
if
I
you
was
want.
gonna
You can
do.
both come. But I need to get back to my compartment.
Sure, that's what I was hoping to find him. I ran into him for just a couple seconds. He seemed like he was freaked out and he needed a chance to catch his breath, but I'm hoping that I can maybe get some information from him as well and see if there's anything that I can do to help him, because he seemed like he was just barely holding it together.
And conveniently at that moment I don't think we even shut the door here, right?
No. I
Yeah.
kept it open. I'm
So I
not,
would
because
say
I didn't want them to think that I was like trying to muscle my way in or something.
So
No, just trying to
take.
take Colette to a second location.
Conveniently at that moment, Buddy would be walking by the compartment, right? Is that right, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I think while they're in there, and definitely not walking by, like marching by fast.
Yeah. Yes, much better. Yeah.
Yeah, sort of head down and trucking forward.
In the course of talking, do we see him?
Well, yeah. So
Yeah, that's
since
what I'm
Johnny
saying,
walked
yeah.
in the door, we're probably looking out. Would I?
Yeah, I would
see
imagine
him
that you
around?
would.
I don't know. Johnny's a
Yeah, pretty big dude.
large-shouldered man. Maybe I can't see around him.
Yeah, I was just kind of banking on the fact that y'all would see Buddy as he's making his
Sure.
way up. Yeah.
Sure, maybe I'm like standing sort of half in, half out, but facing. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
in
I'm
that
not-
case, then, oh my God, Buddy, and I'll just head out. Does that handle it?
buddy.
So, Buddy's definitely on a mission, and I
Mhm.
guess I will turn while walking and say, "Yeah, I'll be back in a minute." And
Where are you?
turn back
Let
on.
me just, and I'll just follow you
okay,
and try to talk to you while we're walking.
okay.
Like,
Yeah,
what
but
do
I'm
you still
following behind.
have the book?
No, it's back there.
Good.
Don't talk about
Good.
it.
I just wanted to know you're okay.
No, I'm not okay, but I'm okay. I gotta find out something in the car up here.
Okay.
It's like
let's
still
go.
cruising forward. Like that's like an over the shoulder while
Yeah.
walking
Well,
thing.
I'm just following you.
Okay.
So
So
there's probably a whole string of us.
Yeah, and as you
Right.
walk into the dining car, Buddy, problematically, they're in the last stages of mopping everything up.
Okay.
And probably what would catch your eye is the broken window above the seat where
Right.
Eddie died.
So that's the first thing is that he's definitely gonna look around. I keep going back and forth between he and I. I'm gonna go in and the first thing I'm looking for is windows. Any sort of exterior window.
Yeah, and so are you talking about the window above where Eddie above
Any
where Eddie
window.
died?
I'm just looking for any window.
Yeah,
So
so
if-
I mean,
if
the
I
first
notice it
one as you
quickly,
walk
then-
into the car, Eddie was in the booth on the right, and as you look to the right, there's a window right there
Okay.
that's broken.
Is it clear for me to get into that window? Can I walk up to it?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
they've cleaned up, they've removed the body. Yeah, it wouldn't
Okay.
be an issue.
And
The
there,
outside of the window is the rushing by, right? Like it's to the outside of the train.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
the guys that are in there, are they clearly the cleanup crew?
Well, I mean, they
Yeah.
clearly work for the train. They're not really. I mean, it's multiple. It's not just people responsible for cleaning.
All right. Okay.
Conscripted
Um,
cleanup.
ex-
crew.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Were you the fellas who cleaned up this room?
Yeah, I mean, he made us.
Okay.
Yeah, and at this point, I'm sort
is
of
there-
trailing in.
Is there was there glass inside this window here on the floor? This broken piece here. Could that have been something from the outside, like a rock or something hitting it?
I didn't clean up no glass.
Yeah, and I'll jump in and I'll say, hey, buddy, remember we introduced ourselves. I'm Johnny Dante. I'm Eddie's friend.
Yeah. FBI guy. Did you see
yeah,
any glass
There was-
inside
yeah,
here?
So there was no glass in here. That's why I think it was an explosion, because something propelled that out, and there was nothing that shattered inwards. So
Oh.
it looks like something exploded out of his stomach. Although I'm not finding any shrapnel or anything to support that. That's what's so freaking me out here. But I feel like something exploded out of him and exploded out and broke that window outwards. Because everything, if you look at the direction of the break, it looks like everything is breaking outwards. And there's just all the indications are that something went out.
How big is the hole, and is there any shape to it?
Yeah, so the hole is circular, which is kind of weird.
Perfectly circular.
Right. Pretty perfectly, and it's about 5 or 6 inches in diameter.
Oh, that's way bigger than I was thinking.
yeah.
okay.
And
And is my vision
but-
correct that I can see, like, when glass breaks outwards, you can see that it starts to like bend, you know what I mean, in the direction that the things were going. Am I seeing like some directionality in the glass that looks like something went out of the train? I made that assumption, but I should have checked it.
Well, there's no glass inside the train.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
that's
I know, but I'm
that's a
saying
big hole for.
Yeah.
The hole. Yeah.
Yeah. But the hole, the odd thing about the hole is there's very few fissures that come off the edges of it.
Oh, it's like a clean hole.
Oh,
It's not
yeah.
perfectly clean, but it's like for the size of the hole, it's pretty clean.
yeah.
Okay,
and
so
I'd
it's
say-
so
and
it's a
something-
slightly dirty hole, but mostly clean.
All right. The first thing I do is clean the hole.
Put your head through it.
So and and I'll say, look, and look, whatever came out, it was going fast, right? Like something slows, it's going to break more. This thing is, I don't even. Do you? So I'm going to look you right in the eye. I'm going to say, buddy, do you have a guess as to what made this big dirty hole?
And I'm gonna cut to Sam on that big dirty.
Please
Sam.
do cut away from this.
And so
Yeah.
Sam walks in and he goes, "You guys talking about that big dirty hole?" No, so I'll be making my way back down now with the alcohol through the chamber with all the staff members. I suppose would be next.
Yep.
And I'd look at them and I would say, I would say who here was working helping move the bodies back and forth.
And they all look at you, and they're just shaking their head like,
Well, I'd like to buy you a drink. That's why, for your hard work.
"Oh, I did. I moved some bodies." And like everybody's putting up their hand, like, "Yeah, I moved some bodies."
This is in the kitchen car he's in?
This is the staff car. He's
Oh,
not
okay,
even in
yeah.
the food prep car yet.
Okay.
And I'll say, all right, well, grab some cups, y'all. I'm gonna be pouring you off a little bit here.
And so, I mean, everybody's producing a cup or some sort of like thing that you can fill with the booze.
Okay, and so I'm not doing a ton. I'm doing a little bit in each because my plan is that this alcohol needs to last basically everybody on the train, or I'll get more if I need to. But not want to tip my hand here, maybe a little bit. But I'm pouring them each just a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm telling them, and now if you get a headache right away, I want you to let me know. I got a doc who's got some good medicine down in the back of the train that might be able to help patch you up. All right, this is potent stuff.
Thank you. That's perfect.
Thank you. And I'll just make my way forward down now into the kitchen car. And is there anybody in there?
Yeah, no. So the kitchen car is pretty full because, or not pretty. There's at least 4 or 5 people in there, and they're like trying to deal with all the foodstuffs that had to be taken out, and trying to like figure out somewhere to put it. But they're also really like disturbed because somebody just put a body in their freezer. So
Yeah.
Wait,
And so
I'm sorry.
I'll do the same.
I just need to clarify. It was originally a fridge, and then at some
I'm
point
sorry,
last
yes.
episode you
No,
said
no, no,
freezer, and I just wanted to make sure that it's not. we
that's
didn't go to freezer.
that's a keeper mistake. It's a
Okay,
refrigeration
got it.
unit.
No,
Yep.
no worries. I just want to make sure I'm picturing the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. To
Yeah.
interrupt.
And so I'll come into that room. I'll say, so you all were helping here with that body, is that right?
I didn't touch that body.
No. I'm just trying to figure out as I want to appreciate the hard work of this crew here and maybe pour you all this
Oh
little
yeah, I
bit of a
moved
drink.
all the food out and I cleared it out, and
And I have a real important question though. Anybody get any of that blood on them?
and they all start like looking down at themselves. And
Now remember, on the way in, at least a few of the people I did that. I got like a really good spot hidden. I didn't see any blood on them.
Wait, did the
So I didn't
keeper
know if
just
there's-
roll a 100?
they're pretty fucking close. The keeper rolled a 99.
Oh man, these poor kitchen people.
Oh no.
So they look down on themselves and they're
I
like,
just want to say
Not
they all
safe
have
for
like blood
Scott.
all over their faces, all over their clothes. They're like, no, not me.
yeah, and so, but that's exactly what's happening, Scott, is as they're looking down on their clothes and they're like, I'm clean. But what Sam is seeing is like blood on their cheeks,
I didn't fuck the roll up.
on their neck. Yeah, so basically they have blood on them, but they can't see it. One guy turns around and like his back's just covered.
What the fuck? Are they rolling around in there?
He was in there
Somebody
leaning
dropped
on
the
it.
body The other guy.
Well, no, he just
All
had
right.
his back to Eddie when Eddie exploded.
Are there two bloody handprints on his ass?
Where's one of his Dildingendorfs? Okay, so I'll pour them some
I found
shots.
the 10th finger.
Yeah, there you go.
God.
So I'll pour them some shots, and I'll say, now I need you all just let me know this stuff's pretty potent if you get yourselves a headache, all right?
And they're like, they down them as soon as you pour them, and they like put their glass right back out.
So when I got to make my way down, I think everybody needs a little hit of mother's milk here, so to speak, on my way down, and I'll just make my way out of the transit. But if I got any left, I'll be right back and hit y'all up, and I'll ask them for their names.
What the fuck is wrong with y'all tonight? But God, I love you. All right, so we'll cut away from Sam pouring drinks and moving along, and Sister B, is that are
Actually,
you up?
I'm fine if you want to do Buddy, Colette, and Johnny, and come to Sister B for at the end. It's up to
Okay,
you.
we'll do that.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
us. All right.
so we're
That's
still
you three.
looking at the window.
still staring
Did
at the
Amanda
hole.
also come with us?
Why, absolutely. And she's got her hair like pulled back in a ponytail, and she's like, but Colette, you're fully on to Amanda's game, right? Like that she has completely, since Johnny entered the scene, she is putting on this facade to make him think she's a different person.
I did catch that.
Yeah.
It was
No, but I'm
subtle.
just saying,
It was
yeah, you're
really
fully
subtle.
Very subtle.
Yeah.
So
You just
Okay.
asked me something. You just asked Buddy something about
What's your number?
no, not
Oh,
her.
sorry.
Johnny. Just asked Buddy something about.
We're talking about what made the hole.
Yeah.
yeah, and I was asking if you had noticed anything. So what I said is, look, I feel like it's an explosion. It looks like some kind of projectile, but I'm not finding any evidence, any powder, any residue, any shrapnel. Do you have any idea what might have happened and what came out of him that made that hole and that killed my friend?
I don't have any evidence either. I would just be guessing. But
I'm okay with the
best
guess
I can
here,
tell, I
buddy.
think there was something in his stomach, and it forcefully made its way out of his stomach and continued out this window.
All right,
And I'd like to cut in at this point, actually, because I am just sort of listening on the sidelines to this conversation. And I'll say, Buddy, when I met Eddie, he was already not eating. He was gaunt.
And when you say
Did
not
anything
eating,
happen to him before the book?
my jaw drops at the not eating, and I'm like, yeah, we're not talking about Eddie. Eddie eats like a champion. He should have gotten paid for it.
I knew Eddie for a month and don't think I ever saw him eat.
Yeah, he had a real hard time eating for quite a while. And then all of a sudden he started eating again. A lot.
Well, so we know when he started eating again. He had that book that he found in the house that you have. We know when he started eating again. Sorry, but
Buddy
what
does one of
happened when
these
he
things.
Stopped eating. Yeah, I'm sure.
Opening his eyes wide.
Did anything
Ixnay
happen
on the Ukbay.
before I met you? Before, I mean,
So
I guess he didn't always.
I guess
starve
this is a
himself?
keeper question. Does Buddy know about the thing in the theater? I don't think he does. And for the listeners, this was a some sort of thing crawled up his leg. Oh, the rat crawled up his leg.
I mean, he
Um,
kind of like yelled.
He made a big show.
I have a recollection of making a big show out of it.
Yeah,
And
he
you
made-
helped
but
me-
wasn't-
you helped
wasn't-
me look for the rat.
Felt like something crawled up my ass.
Yeah,
But I thought-
I believe that's a direct quote from Eddie.
Was
No, that
was
was
Buddy
Scott.
there? I felt like Buddy was further
Buddy
away.
Buddy
he was there?
there.
No,
Okay.
yeah,
I
you
mean,
were right there.
I
Yeah,
can
you were
okay.
right
check.
there.
I
Yeah.
have my old book.
And
Yeah.
again,
I mean,
memory
if-
serves.
I mean,
I called
Oddly,
you to
it
help
was
me.
such a memorable scene for me. You don't have to go back and check. I remember
Okay.
I remember Eddie exclaiming this out, and Buddy Buddy would remember this.
So
sure.
the question is, would Buddy? That Buddy was there. He did know that happened. Would he put two and two together in this situation?
You make an idea roll.
We
That's
what
we
I
got to
felt
leave
like.
that up
I
to the
felt
dice.
like there was a
That
roll
is-
there. And that is you say an idea roll? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Is that knowledge?
No, that's intelligence.
Intelligence. Okay, thank you. Oh, it's a 17, which for Buddy is a hard success.
Yeah, so you would.
Why did you just
easily-
giggle at that?
It's happy that maybe we'll
Yeah,
figure out
Oh,
how
okay.
That's a pretty exciting.
Okay.
Like if
connection
you'd
for
missed
Buddy
it, we
to
would
make.
never know.
I thought it
No,
was. I thought it was.
he
Buddy's
would-
gonna fail a
He
17.
would know, but there would have been a serious sanity roll involved with it.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
There would just be more consequence, essentially.
Okay. So there was this time, and I guess now that I think about it, it was kind of right before Eddy stopped eating, right? Because we went to the diner afterwards, and he wasn't hungry in the diner, and he said that was weird. But we were in this
That's weird.
in this theater, where the magician used to perform, and Eddy was saying there was a rat running up his leg, but there was nothing there. He turned around and he said there was a rat going up my ass, and there was nothing. There was nothing there. There was nothing on him. And
That
then
town is cursed.
just after that, he stopped eating.
So, Buddy, you understand, right? He never stopped eating.
Yeah, I remember he was real upset about it.
He
And
was. He
I
took
guess
me to restaurants.
We had spent
Someday
some
I'll
time
take
together
you.
before then, right? Because we had been going around doing the investigation
Yeah.
thing before that point.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
he did. Yeah, he did love to eat.
And about this time, as you're contemplating this, the door to the car, at the opposite end, slides open, and there's Sam standing with a shotgun and a bag full of booze.
Do we know it's a bag full of booze?
who. Probably not, right? I mean, it's a full
Yeah.
sidewalk
Mhm.
in, and I'd say, well, look at who it is. All my favorite folks here gathered on one little spot. Well, I gotta say, guys, we have been through hell and high water so far on this little journey of ours, and I think it's just a right proper time for us to just chill out, maybe celebrate the passing or mourn the passing of Eddy Del Dingendorf, and I will pull out some cups and pour.
I'm gonna make my way back to Amanda, having potentially made the connection that she and Sam were in a face-off.
face off, no face off.
Yeah, and that would be as you see Sam enter the car, you turn, and Colette, you would catch Amanda reaching into her waistband.
Okay. Well, as I was already moving her direction, I will just stand in front of her and lightly place my hand on her hand and just say, "This isn't the time."
And she says, "Oh, whatever do you mean? That nice gentleman who's entering the car, what a hero he's been."
Mm.
Well, thank you, ma'am. You're so right. I've just been trying to make sure we settle everyone down and honor the brave folks here on this train for cleaning this mess up. And
How
so
hospitable of you.
I'm pouring some shots into cups there in the car and just setting them out for everybody and saying, taking one and raising it myself and saying to Eddy,
Sam, I'm not drinking right now. I can't be drinking right now. Thank you though. It's very nice of you.
Mr. Wagoneer. I'm not drinking anything either. I'll be celebrating my friend a little bit differently.
well, I think I must insist.
No,
You
you don't
can
get to
insist all you
insist
want.
anything, Sam. That's really nice of you, but I'm not having a drink right now. Thanks. And
Well,
Buddy's gonna turn back to
here's
the
Here's
window.
the problem, buddy. Here's the problem. I don't know who's infected on this train.
I'll just lean into Amanda and say, "Okay, it might be the time."
And I'm gonna say, what do you mean infected? And why do you think you got to give someone liquor if you think they're infected there?
Well,
Damn.
results of my preliminary investigation, sir, and I'm no FBI man, but I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. And we've had a number of people who got some sort of infection, and as a result, they became abnormal. They started acting different and unusual from their baseline. Reports from their friends that they just weren't who they were in some fashion. And when we gave them alcohol, when they took alcohol, not intentional, it seems that it triggered some sort of reaction from this infection, and it caused their heads to explode. And they develop a headache beforehand. This is all some speculation from a simple country farmer, but looking at your friend Eddy and his poppins, I worry that there may be some infection that he may have seeded here in this room, and I just worry about it spreading and getting across the communities. It may be contained back in Albuquerque, and we may be seeding epidemic.
So, in just a quick clarifying question.
Buddy is going to turn and leave.
You said the people's heads
which direction? Back towards Buddy.
Back towards the compartment.
Yeah. So you said people's heads explodes, but his stomach exploded, not his head. And
well, that's what I'm saying. Who knows if that's a part of this or not? I'm just saying you don't normally see body parts explode, be it head or belly or what have you. And
no, I couldn't agree more. That's why I'm looking for the explosives. I'm looking to find out what happened.
And I'm saying I think it's a chemical reaction potentially, and a trigger for it could be alcohol. And if that's the case, we need to know who's infected and who's not. And I'm just saying, I'd feel much more reassured that we're not endangering the rest of this great country if you all join me here in a shot. I've already cleared the folks on the front end of the train, and I'm just trying to make sure we're doing our due diligence here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Wagoneer. It sounds like you've got a very goofy hypothesis. I don't know that there's much evidence behind it. And your solution with this hypothesis is to just give people fucking alcohol and find out if their heads explode?
I mean, I think it's a pretty elegant solution. I'm sorry if it blows your mind.
Boo. So, no, Mr. Wagner, I got to ask you to stop giving people alcohol and trying to make their heads explode. That just doesn't make sense to me.
I don't want to make their heads explode. I'm saying if they initially maybe contaminated, maybe it helps cure them. I mean, who knows? But my point is, we won't know one way or the other, and I think this just has to be done.
Colette's going to slip out.
Okay, and Phil, who was part of the cleaning crew, taps you on the shoulder, Sam, and he says, "I'm willing to take another test." He puts his cup out
there. Go, Phil.
I say, oh, Phil, I like you already. And I say, you willing to help me out here, slinging some drinks for a little on the side?
I'm happy to.
And I'll say, well, listen, Mr. Dante and Amanda, and I guess Colette, you slipped out with or without Amanda. I don't know, but I would say,
did Amanda follow me?
Absolutely.
Great.
So you can finish your investigation here, Mr. Dante, but I'm gonna finish mine, and I'll just start making my way out to the next train car. With
so you're following us
with Phil.
Okay. Hold on a second there, Mr. Wagoneer. This is a federal investigation. I'm going to ask you to hold on for just 1 minute, please, sir.
What do you mean hold on? I'm just walking back to the back of the train.
Did you walk past me and ignore when I asked you to hold on?
Well, you're talking to me as I'm standing with Phil, and we've got some alcohol.
What do I see? Did you walk past me or not?
When we walk, I'm just standing.
I think he's talking to you. I think he's answering
you
your
said
question.
that you did not. I got it. I thought you were describing that physically you went. Okay.
No. I think he was saying that to you.
I got it. So, Mr. Wagoneer, I need to ask that you just no more giving people alcohol. I need you to stay in this car for a second. I've got to get some stuff figured out here. But if
why do you need me in this car?
If you've got a hypothesis that people's heads are going to explode by giving them booze, and we're trying to contain this thing, Do you think giving people alcohol is the best thing? Let's just say you're right. I don't think you're right, but that's okay. I've been wrong before. Let's say you're right, and their heads start exploding.
Yeah.
It's just going to make it worse. We're going to
Yeah.
get this train to a place. We're going to stop the train. We're going to get the FBI involved. We're going to investigate this, and we'll make the determination.
I mean, Mr. Johnson, I just need to have
Look,
your...
I'm just an FBI guy. I'm not a scientist. You're a farmer.
And we'll cut from the debate between the two characters as Colette and Amanda and Buddy move towards the back of the train. And we're going to check on Sister B, who's shining this flashlight in these rows of essentially mechanical bodies that have been hung from the ceiling.
So these dangling torsos, some of them full bodies, some with one leg, two leg, arms missing. She was putting a flashlight down towards floor to see if there's any fluid or anything that was on floor, like oil, if they're mechanical.
Interesting. Yeah, and make a spot hidden for me with that.
37 gives her a regular success.
Cool. And then all right. And then also give me a sand roll with that.
Oh, missed it by 1, a 53. She has a 52.
Okay.
So,
all right. So she's let me see what the consequence here on that. We're gonna say 3 points of sand. So Sister B is rolling across the floor with her flashlight beam, and you can kind of get the sense of this eerie moment, right? There's essentially the torsos, in some cases legs, in some cases wires of bodies swaying back and forth with the motion of the train. There's the constant rumble, and what we hear is the train going down the tracks. You see glints of fluid, nothing spectacular, but it does seem maybe some lubricating fluid has dripped down to the floor. But what you hear as you're scanning the floor, and the hairs on the back of Sister B's neck starts to stand up, and you hear, "Apricot, is that you?"
Sister B steps back at a little bit of a shock, and she says, "Apricot." And she goes over to the side door at this point, and
Okay.
she's a little taken, and she looks up, and are all the torsos and the figures. I assume they're a bit of jumbled, not all facing her. Perhaps there's heads in the corner on crates. I
They're
don't know.
all facing in the direction that the train's moving, and they're swaying back and forth.
So she's in the middle, so there's some forward of her.
Mm.
Okay, so she heard something, but I don't think with that sanity roll, that she'll be thrown off. That was weird, and voices in her head. So Apricot, she's heard that name before, and she talks out loud. She goes to the door, a little shaken, and she wants to open the side door of train car, like the previous one, just a little bit, and she knows there's that latch. And so she pops that little chain and she slides it open for air, and she wanted the light to see the floor, but she heard this word, and she goes, shakes her head, and maybe she does power roll. I don't know. She shakes her head and says, "Oh, that is strange. That is name that I have not heard in a long time." And
Apricot, are you looking for me?
where's the voice coming from?
From the front of the car.
And she says,
And as she starts to walk and shine the light, the faces become more real on these people. There's men, there's women, there seem to be children's faces.
does some of them almost seem to have expressions?
Yeah, absolutely. They seem almost lifelike, except sleeping.
This is unnerving. And so she goes very slowly with one foot in front of the other towards front of a train car, with it going back and forth towards where she thought she heard this voice, which is familiar voice in her head. She goes, that is a very odd. Apricot, is that you? That is only one person that would call me that name. And
And as she gets closer to the front of the car, she hears, "Apricot, I am over here."
She will turn the way where the voice was, and with the flashlight and with a jerk of her hand, she would swing it over that way and see if there's a figure that she can isolate that the voice is coming from, and see if it's a full figure, a part figure. It makes no sense. It must be a full figure if it's talking.
It's really messing with her. There's no arms, there's no legs. It's just a torso with some wires dangling out of it. But in her eyes, it's Richard's face talking to her.
She goes up to it, and I assume at her height she has to look up, and she shines flashlight directly on face, and she says,
and the eyes look down at her right into the flashlight beam unblinkingly.
And Richard had the most curious amber eyes out there, and she looks at his eyes with flashlight. Are his eyes the right color?
Yep.
That would freak her out. There was no one with eyes like that. And she was called Apricot only by one person, by Richard, and no one would know that. And she says, this is, I guess, the 3 points of sanity. She says, "Richard, I knew you weren't dead. You are alive. It is you."
But of course I am Apricot.
And that's where she starts to swoon and reel.
And then he says, "I knew that you would find me. I knew that you would come looking."
So I would say, I hand this over to the keeper, but she doesn't make a sanity roll or a power roll on that one. I just did one. And she would hold a hand up in front of her, still trying to hold the flashlight, but it would tumble from her hand, rolling across the floor. And she would start falling backwards, bumping into torsos and figures hanging from the ceiling towards the open door. And I'll leave it to you.
Make a... Let's see. I'm going to actually make this roll and just see what happens here, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's your dex?
80.
Yeah. She's stumbling back and forth between all of these bodies, and her mind is flooded with memories of being with Richard as a child and
feeding him apricots.
Yeah, and euphorically colorful visions, and the light from the passing train as it moves through a tunnel, and the whole thing goes pitch black, and then light pours through the train again, and it kind of blinds her as the bodies slam into her, and she falls and she bounces her head against the wall, and she's knocked unconscious, and will cut for the evening.
That is going to do it for us tonight. Until next time, you can find us at underthelibrary.com. Don't forget to check out our other show. It's called Up Your RPG and can be found wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, for me, for Michael, for Wayne, for Emily, for Rick, and for Scott, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time under the library.
Sister hole, sister hole, sister hole, 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 sister hole.
Sister hole?
Is this where the sister hole textbook came from?
Sister B was on the cusp of a vibrating sister hole.
Sister hole, sister hole, sister hole, boom, boom.
Here's our first album, Sister Hole!
You know, essentially like the blood sponge for the, children of narcolepsy. Narcolepsy, whatever.
Epidemic.
Sister hole.